Hey folks, my name is Dane. I'm the owner of Splash Guest House based here in Chiba, Japan, and I'm one of the official ambassadors for NSP. I'm here today to talk to you about this amazing new board that they're just about to put out into the market. I've been super excited about this for a long time. Let's give you a look at it. First of all, guys, what's it called? It's called the Double Up. What are we looking at? The length is 7'4", the width is 22, thickness 3 3/4, and the volume, wait for it, 71.8 litres. Woo-wee! Let's get straight into this board, guys, and talk to you about it. Why am I so excited about this? This is going to check 3 massive boxes for me. Number 1 box is I run a surf school. We have literally thousands of people coming to surf school, intermediate surf. You know, people have been riding for 3 to 6 months. Everyone is looking for that first time hard board. This is the board I've been wanting for years. Why? Everyone surfs foamies in the school. You know, those 8.0, 7.0s, 8.0s, 10.0s. And when they first look for a hard board in the market for many years, there's been 7.2s, 4s, 6s, 8 foots, 9 foots. Hard boards, and it's what do they buy? Basically all of those boards, those fun boards, for me have traditionally always been too thin, not enough volume for them, so that general step up from a foamy onto that fun board is a massively hard transition for those people. With this amount of volume, this line and this shape and this size, it's just the magic board for them. They're going to still feel that forgiveness of the volume for when they're out in the water, but that nice compactness of the 7.4, which makes it manageable for them. Of course, when they're on the long boards, they like that sort of volume, but they can't deal with the lengths. And when they're on something like a 7.2 traditional fun board, there's just not enough volume for them. So they feel that, you know, they go from catching hundreds of waves on their foamy to catching no waves on their fun board, which is very demoralizing for them. So that's checkbox number 1. Checkbox number 2, double up. For someone like me who's an advanced rider, surfing bigger waves or out there on small days where I just want to catch waves, or maybe bigger, heavier riders, this thing, again, it's just got loads of volume. So bigger waves, lots of volume equates to paddle speed. When you're surfing, you know, 10 foot plus, slow moving, big kind of bombory style waves, you've got that paddle speed and paddle volume to get in there. When it's slightly smaller, if you're a bigger, heavier guy or taller, it's gonna again equivalent to paddle speed, and which means you're going to be able to compete, which means you're going to be able to get waves, which is again is really important. But you're not compromising by having a big style longboard out there in the water. And then checkbox number 3, why I love it is I just think it's a perfect addition board to your quiver for just the average guy, maybe a family guy who's got kids, who wants to have something to take out to the beach, for the kids to play on, for him to teach his kids to surf, you know, those 3 or 4 times a year. Doesn't have a big car, doesn't have roof racks, wants it to be able to fit inside the car. That's what this does. It's 7.4, but it's got that volume to float, you know, be a beginner board for kids or intermediates. It's a board that you can give your friend when you come to the beach. But like I said before, if it's your extra board, it's that board that you've got for those small days. You can just go out, compete and have fun. But be careful, if you do get it for that reason, I think it will turn around and become your main board very quickly. Let's talk about the board itself for you guys. Number 1, let's have a quick look. Fin setup, it's got that nice US center box fin, bit of a change. It's got these 2 outside future fin boxes. I'm glad to see that they've got futures in here, not FCS. Just I believe personally the future fin boxes are a little bit stronger than the FCS. So that's really sick to see that. Why? US center box fin for those first time riders. Again, you're just putting a nice big center fin that's going to allow you to track straight on the wave like those beginner boards. When you get up and riding, it's going to naturally help the board follow the wave. Super important. If you're an advanced surf rider or a bigger guy, you can drop the size of that center fin, add the two side future fins, and that will give you a more high performance setup, meaning that will equivalent into you being able to turn the board a lot better. If you've got kids, friends, first timers and all this stuff, you can use that center box fin again, put in a flexi fin that you can buy, which will be really forgiving. If they ride the fins up onto the beach and all this stuff, it's not going to break that fin box, which is super good and super important. Okay, then we're going to turn around and talk about the actual board design itself. Starting up here at the nose for you guys, what we've got is we've got a tiny bit of a spoon in the nose, which is really interesting to see, because again, that's going to help that if you get your weight up the front, it's going to help you almost kind of like nose ride this board, but I believe it will actually help the board sit and hold in the water much better, and we'll talk about that combination with the rails in a second. The actual contour underneath, what I can feel here is that there's definitely a double concave with a very slight V running just from behind that spoon here, right through the center of the board, right all the way down to the tail. Again, that's going to flow the water down either side of that center fin, or when you've got those side fins directly towards the side fins, it's going to make this board track beautifully in the water and then turn really nicely. So this combination with these rails, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second, is just going to be absolutely magic. Tail wise, it's drawn in nicely. It almost looks like a thumb, but it's not a thumb tail. It is like a square tail, but it's very nicely rounded into that square tail. Which again, for those bigger riders or more performance riders, when you do get your foot right back over the fins, it's going to be able to pivot real nice and quick and everything. Bigger, more volume boards like this, obviously everyone worries about the rails. This board here has incredibly sharp rails right from the nose all the way down to the tail. That gets me excited. Why? Because imagine this is a foamy surfboard but in disguise as a hardboard. The biggest problem with foamy surfboards are those big rounded rails. There is effectively no rail, so as soon as you get into steep face waves, the board just wants to drop away and slide out from underneath you. These nice sharp rails are going to hopefully allow that board to grab rail in the side of the wave. Coupled with those fins and that double concave, I think it's going to make this board stick like super glue up in the face of the wave. So you're not going to have any of the downside of those foamy surfboards with this one. Really, really like it. Top of the board, rockers, definitely just a very slight rocker in the nose. Enough of a rocker for sure. It's just very drawn up at the very tip. In those last sort of like 3 inches, that's going to be forgiving in the drop of the wave, especially for beginner riders or first time riders, super important. And it does have a little bit of a tail rocker, again, which is when you get it, your weight back on that board, it's going to be able to turn real nice, versus these dead flat things. So a lot of thought has gone into this board of how it's going to work for multiple riders, which makes me excited. The top of the deck as well, it's pretty flat through the nose, then it does go into a little bit of a dome through the middle and then flattens out at the back end as well, and that helps hide some of the volume in there. So you're definitely, again, all around you'll be able to get your weight right up front, bit of nose riding, but for those beginners that have sort of awkward wide stances, front foot forward or back foot heavy, and all this stuff, it's going to really help just balance all of that out. That's pretty much it. Like I said, the board is called the Double Up. from NSP, 71.8 litres. Super excited about it. Proof is going to be in the pudding. My job is to test all of these and try and destroy them. I'm going to get this one waxed up. I'm going to give it to my kid who's 13, who's sort of a beginner style, who just groms it and goes out and takes off on anything and anything. Then I'm going to get on it, take it out and some bigger stuff, try and get barrels and whatnots on it. I'm notorious for not looking after my boards. I want to see how they deal with the wear and tear of a hard life. So I'll give you a report and a review in a few weeks once I've written it. But thanks for listening. Hopefully that helps you out. Again, check out NSP and their new boards. They are not what they used to be. These things are high performance surfboards. Super sick, super stoked. See you soon. Cheerio!